Welcome to the deep dive. Hit subscribe, because today's case, well, it's one that will truly leave you speechless. Imagine this for a second. A 5-year-old boy. He's seen on surveillance video struggling to walk, looking weak. Then later, he's seen again, completely limp, being carried from a San Antonio hotel room. Days later, his little body is found. Discovered in this remote ravine way out in Colorado, exposed to the elements, over 1,000 miles from where anyone saw him alive last. It's horrific. But to understand how we got to that point, we really need to unravel this chilling story of neglect and just terribly misplaced trust. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the heartbreaking story of Domenic Aguilar-Acevedo. So Domenic, he was just 5 years old. Friends and family described him as this bright, really sweet kid. Just picture him, loved Batman, Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, apparently even adored his aunt's dog. Just a normal, happy little boy by all accounts. The key people here are Domenic's mother, Nicole Aguilar, and her boyfriend at the time, Daniel Garcia. The couple, along with Domenic and Nicole's other kids, had moved to San Antonio, Texas. And they were staying in these extended stay hotels.
Hold on a sec. Extended stay hotels with multiple young children. What led them to be living like that? Was this some kind of sudden move or?
Yeah, that's a really important piece of the puzzle. So the investigation later found out that Nicole and Daniel had actually met on Facebook. This is back in October 2020. Daniel was apparently going through some kind of custody dispute himself. He claimed he wanted to move to San Antonio to be closer to his own kids, and he suggested Nicole and her children come with him so they could, split expenses.
Split expenses living in hotels. That sounds unstable from the get-go.
It does. And Nicole, well, she was reportedly really eager to get out of her mother's house, so she agreed. But what might have seemed like a fresh start, it turned dark really, really fast. Almost immediately, there are these deeply concerning signs. Daniel started physically disciplining Domenic. He even apparently told Nicole that she wasn't disciplining her own son efficiently enough.
Wait, hold on. He meets her on Facebook, they move in together into hotels, and almost immediately he's deciding how her child should be disciplined. That is a massive, massive red flag right there. Did Nicole just not see it, or was she maybe overlooking it?
Well, the record suggests she did notice it, at least at first. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they even talk about having an agreement like each would handle their own kids' discipline their own way.
Okay, so there was some awareness there.
Right, but Daniel clearly didn't stick to it. There were descriptions of early incidents, spanking Domenic really hard enough that it left bruises.
Bruises already?
Yeah, it was this immediate shift in power dynamics.
Yeah.
And just, incredibly disturbing from the outset. So as they moved between these hotels in San Antonio, the situation for Domenic just got worse, a lot worse. The physical discipline escalated. It became more severe, more frequent. We're talking things like forced cold showers, really intense spankings, and then closed fist punches.
With punches.
On a 5-year-old.
Yes.
To his butt, his chest, even his face. And get this detail, it makes your stomach turn. Daniel would apparently force Domenic's head down into the mattress.
Why?
To muffle the sounds while he was hitting him.
Oh my God. That's not discipline. That's deliberate cruelty. Calculated. How could anyone around them not notice something was terribly wrong?
It's just beyond thinking about. And then there was the jaw injury.
Yes. The investigation uncovered that Daniel struck Domenic in the jaw with a closed fist. It caused his jaw to look visibly slanted.
Slanted, like broken.
It sounds like it was seriously injured, yes. And Nicole later admitted that she started using a face mask on Domenic to hide the injury from people.
She hid it instead of getting him help.
That's what she said. And Domenic was apparently punished for the smallest things a 5-year-old does.
Like what?
Like not answering a question fast enough, not eating his food quickly, having, a bathroom accident. And he was often made to stay on the floor. In timeout, even while everyone else was sleeping in the beds.
A potentially broken jaw, hidden with a mask. And he's still there, being punished like this. Why didn't anyone intervene? Why didn't Nicole do more? It's just maddening.
Oh. And this is where that hotel surveillance video becomes absolutely crucial. It paints this really horrifying picture. This is July 24th, 25th, 2021. Domenic is seen on the video. He's wearing a hoodie and a mask.
In the Texas summer heat.
Exactly, which is odd in itself, right? Maybe connected to hiding injuries. He's seen moving really slowly, clearly struggling, and Daniel is seen aggressively tugging him along.
Oh, you can just picture it. Poor little guy.
Then, a bit later, the camera captures Daniel again. This time, he's carrying Domenic back upstairs to the hotel room. And Domenic, he looks limp. Unconscious.
Limp and unconscious.
Nicole later described what happened that night. She said Domenic started vomiting this strange black and brown substance, and then she found him unconscious in the bathtub.
Unconscious in the bathtub. You're kidding me. Okay, that is the moment. That is 911 immediately, no question. What happened next? Please tell me they called for help.
That's what anyone would think, right? It's the only rational human response. But no, instead of calling an ambulance, instead of getting him to a hospital, Nicole later admitted it, they made a conscious decision not to report Monic's condition, not to seek any medical help.
Why? Why would they do that?
Their reason, the one they gave later, they were afraid of losing custody of Nicole's other children.
Afraid. So they let him.
Yeah.
There are no words.
And what they did next, it's almost impossible to comprehend. It just defies any sense of basic human empathy. They got in the car, Daniel and Nicole, with Nicole's other young child also in the vehicle.
With the other child?
Yes. And they started driving. With Domenic's body, they drove for 15 hours, nearly 1,000 miles, all the way from San Antonio, Texas, up to Fraser County, Colorado.
15 hours. In a car. With his body. And her other child. I can't even wrap my head around that. How is that even possible?
It's an unimaginable scenario, but it's what the investigation uncovered. Now, when they got to Colorado, Nicole testified later that it was actually her idea to go there.
Her idea. Why Colorado?
She said she'd promised her kids they'd see snow someday, and she claimed she wanted to leave Domenic somewhere.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. After what happened, that sounds dissonant.
Very. But the details of how they actually concealed his body are far more disturbing than that justification sounds. Daniel reportedly tied a rope to the steering wheel of the car. He then used it to rappel down this deep ravine.
Rappel down to hide the body.
Yes, and Nicole. She apparently tried to throw water jugs down into the ravine first, the idea being to try and make his body roll further down, further out of sight.
They threw jugs at him, at his body.
That's monstrous, utterly dehumanizing. And then what? They just drove away, fled?
Exactly. After leaving Domenic's body in the ravine, they fled, first to Mexico. Then they went on to Costa Rica, just trying to get away, put distance between themselves and what they'd done. Now, fast forward to Daniel's trial. Things got complicated. There were conflicting stories, different theories presented. Daniel's defense team, they really went on the attack. They argued there was no cause of passing determined. They claimed there were no injuries at or near the time of passing that could be definitively linked to Daniel.
So they were saying he might have passed from something else, or the injuries were old.
They suggested the injuries were much older. Yeah. Based on testimony from some experts they brought in, they tried really hard to shift all the blame onto Nicole.
Wow. So the defense strategy was basically, it wasn't him, it was her, or the timing doesn't work. That must have created a lot of confusion, a lot of doubt.
It absolutely did. That was the core of their strategy, create reasonable doubt about Daniel's direct role in the injuries that led to Domenic's condition. It really highlights how difficult these cases can be, trying to piece together the truth from conflicting accounts, especially when people have reasons to lie or obscure things. The turning point, the moment the truth started to surface, really came down to one person's love and deep, deep worry. Domenic's maternal grandmother. She just couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. She was deeply concerned about Domenic, hadn't heard anything, couldn't get straight answers, so she started her own search.
She tracked him down all the way to Costa Rica.
She did. She found Nicole in Costa Rica.
Wow. Thank goodness for her persistence. But what could Nicole even say at that point? Confronted by her own mother after all that.
It apparently took a lot of pushing, persistent, direct questioning from her mother. But eventually, Nicole broke. She admitted what happened to Domenic.
She confessed to her mom. Oh, I cannot imagine that conversation. The weight of that moment, the grief, the horror.
Unimaginable. And as soon as the grandmother knew the unbearable truth, she did the right thing. She immediately contacted the authorities back in San Antonio. And that set everything in motion for the recovery. Nicole and her mother actually returned to Colorado. They went with FBI agents to that burial site. Nicole had to guide them to the ravine.
She had to go back there with her mother and the FBI, lead them to where she left her son.
The emotional toll of that, for both of them, but especially the grandmother, it must have been absolutely crushing, just unimaginable strength required.
It really speaks volumes about her determination to find Domenic. And the discovery itself, it was incredibly grim. This was August 25th, 2021, almost exactly a month after Domenic was last seen alive on that hotel video. They recovered his body from that deep ravine. Investigators described the scene. His body had been exposed to the elements, to animal activity for that entire month. They noted that maggots had consumed a lot of the soft tissue.
Yeah, including his brain. Oh, God. A whole month. With animal activity, that is just horrifying beyond words, it sounds like. There wouldn't be much left to even examine. How could they get any real evidence after all that time and exposure?
It's a truly awful detail, isn't it? But even with the severe decomposition, that recovery was absolutely vital. The final autopsy results would obviously take time, but the initial examination, right there at the scene and shortly after, confirmed clear signs of trauma.
So even after a month, they could still see evidence of injury.
Yes, it showed this wasn't a natural event. There was evidence of physical harm. This discovery was the critical breakthrough. It allowed the investigation to really move forward, to start piecing together what happened despite the challenges. It really showed the power of forensic work, even in the toughest conditions. So after the recovery, after gathering all the evidence they could, the legal gears started turning. Nicole Aguilar, Domenic's mother, she ended up taking a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to injury to a child, causing serious bodily injury by omission.
By omission. What does that mean exactly in legal terms here?
It essentially means she was held legally responsible for failing to act, for neglecting her duty to protect Domenic, for not intervening when she knew, or should have known, about the severe harm being inflicted on him. Standing by, essentially.
So not for inflicting the injuries herself, but for letting them happen and doing nothing.
Precisely. And as part of this plea agreement, she had to testify against Daniel Garcia. In return, her sentence would be capped at a maximum of 15 years.
Okay, so she agreed to tell her story, pointing the finger at Daniel in exchange for a lighter sentence. How did her testimony go?
It was pretty chilling, by all accounts. Nicole testified directly that Daniel was the one responsible for Domenic's physical abuse. She described the severe discipline, including that specific incident where he allegedly struck Domenic so hard the boy hit a wall in the hotel room. And maybe most significantly, she admitted her own failure to intervene, her reason. She said, and this is a direct quote that came out, that she was too eager to be in a relationship with a man.
Wow.
And also that she was afraid of losing custody of her other children if she reported anything.
She actually said that. That she prioritized a relationship and fear about her other kids over protecting Domenic from that level of violence. That's a brutal admission.
Yeah.
Hard for anyone, especially a jury, to hear. It really puts the whole dynamic into a harsh light.
It really does. It's a statement that just hangs in the air, you know?
Yeah.
So, Daniel Garcia's case went to trial. And after hearing all the evidence, the jury found him guilty. Guilty of injury to a child resulting in serious bodily injury. Now, his defense team, during that trial, they fought back hard. They went after Nicole's credibility relentlessly, called her a monster, not a mother, called her an admitted liar.
Trying to paint her as completely unreliable.
Exactly. They hammered on inconsistencies in her statements.
Yeah.
They brought up these really unsettling WhatsApp messages Nicole sent to Daniel after Domenic's body had been found.
After. What did she say?
She expressed love for Daniel, and she blamed herself. She wrote things like, "I fucked up as a parent, failed my children."
Hold on. Even after everything, finding Domenic's body, the investigation starting, she's still sending messages saying, "I love you" to him and blaming herself. That makes everything so much more tangled, doesn't it? It plants that seed of doubt about her role, her state of mind, maybe the level of control he had over her.
Absolutely. It added huge layers of complexity for the jury to sift through. It speaks volumes about the potential psychological hold in abusive relationships, even after the most horrific events. But the prosecution had powerful evidence, too. They brought forward testimony about Daniel's disturbing past behavior patterns, and his apparent lack of remorse was really striking. Daniel's ex-partner, a woman named Samantha, she testified. She described a pattern of physical abuse from Daniel towards her chokeholds, punching her, even threats against his own mother.
So a history of violence.
Yes. And she also said he was abusive toward their dogs. Then there were Daniel's jail calls, recordings played in court. They revealed this shocking lack of remorse. He wasn't taking responsibility. Instead, he was blaming the trial process, blaming the jury. He even called his own daughter a liar when she apparently said something incriminating.
Wow, no accountability at all.
None apparent. He even talked about wanting his record expunged eventually, wanting to become a truck driver. He apparently believed, and this is chilling, everyone gets at least one.
Gets at least one. One what? One free pass for something like this? He sounds completely detached from the gravity of it all, just unnerving, zero empathy.
That's exactly the picture the prosecution painted. And in their rebuttal, they kept bringing it back to that hotel surveillance video, the images of Daniel with Domenic, his actions. They emphasized the consistency of Domenic's injuries. Multiple injuries, indicating abuse over days, maybe weeks, not just one incident. which lined up with the abuse Nicole described. And they highlighted all of Daniel's actions after Domenic passed, lying about where they were going, saying Miami, using Nicole's phone to talk to his own mother while they were driving away from San Antonio. All clear attempts, they argued, to conceal what happened and flee. It painted a very deliberate, very incriminating picture. So after the convictions, it came time for sentencing. Nicole Aguilar, because of her plea deal, received 15 years in prison. That was the maximum allowed under her agreement. Daniel Garcia, on the other hand, was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Life for him, 15 years for her. Okay, let's talk about that. Was that justice? Considering everything Nicole admitted the omission, hiding the injury, participating in the concealment, driving his body, does 15 years feel proportional? It seems like a significant disparity.
That's the question, isn't it? And it's one that many people, especially Domenic's family, have likely struggled with immensely. The pain was just raw in the courtroom during the sentencing phase. Domenic's maternal grandmother gave this incredibly emotional victim impact statement. She talked about her profound sorrow, how Domenic's little sisters now have to grow up without their older brother, and she spoke directly to Daniel, asking him, "How can a 5-year-old do damage to an adult person? We opened our hearts to this young man, and he did not do it well." Just heartbreaking.
Oh, you can just feel the depth of that pain. It's a wound that's never going to fully heal for that family, a constant reminder of the betrayal and the loss.
Absolutely. The emotion was overwhelming. At one point, Domenic's biological father, David Engwiller, he had an outburst in the courtroom during the sentencing. He lashed out verbally at Daniel, and court officers actually had to restrain him.
Understandable grief and rage.
Completely. And Daniel's ex-partner, Samantha, she also gave a statement. She expressed relief, immense gratitude, really, for having escaped him. And she told Daniel he would never know the true pain they all endured, or how much the kids truly missed Domenic.
It just shows the huge ripple effects, so many lives devastated by his actions and by Nicole's inaction.
Yeah. And even with the sentences handed down, sometimes these cases still leave you with nagging questions, don't they? Things that aren't fully resolved.
They really do. And this case is no exception. Despite the verdicts, there are these lingering points, like the defense's argument about the timing of the injuries. They kept pushing that claim that the significant injuries happened a month or more before Domenic passed. That directly contradicts the prosecution's experts who talked about injuries over days to weeks leading up to it.
Right, that difference in expert opinion. Does that leave any real uncertainty about the exact timeline? Or maybe who inflicted the final fatal harm?
It's a question the defense certainly wanted the jury and the public to consider. It adds the layer of complexity. And zooming out from the specifics, this case forces us to look at the incredibly difficult dynamics in domestic violence situations, especially where a victim, like Nicole arguably was in some ways, might also become complicit, whether it's through fear, manipulation, or that desperate desire for a relationship she mentioned.
It raises that huge, difficult question. What could have been done differently? Were there signs missed earlier? What systems, what community support could possibly have intervened to prevent this outcome for Domenic? He was trapped between them.
Exactly. He was caught in this horrific situation. This case is just such a stark, absolutely heart-wrenching reminder of the hidden struggles some children face, often right under our noses, in plain sight, behind closed doors, in places we'd least expect it. And it leaves us with this final thought to wrestle with. What can we as individuals, as a community, actually do? How can we be more vigilant, more supportive, more willing to intervene to ensure that a statement like, "I was too eager to be in a relationship with a man," never, ever becomes part of the explanation for why a child lost their life? If you found this deep dive compelling and, frankly, deeply troubling, please make sure you hit subscribe on the Deep Dive YouTube channel. We cover more cases like Domenic's, aiming to bring these stories to light. Your support really helps us ensure these children, these victims, are never forgotten.